like to thank the University of Minnesota. What a university! Thank you! This is such a great institution. They would invite Michael Moore, and now they would invite Ron Paul and Michele Bachmann. Now that's an exemplar of diversity. I thank the University of Minnesota. Like you, I highly value our featured speaker tonight, Congressman Ron Paul. And I have known Ron for the 3 years that I have been in Congress. I've been just honored to know him, to get to know him better, to have conversations with him. He's invited me to be a part of his Thursday Liberty Luncheon. Every week we get together, we talk about monetary policy, and the foundation of all of our conversations is liberty and how we can give more liberty back into the hands of the people. He truly is who he says he is. He's an awesome man, and you're going to enjoy hearing what he has to say this evening. I know that you're not only going to be inspired by Ron Paul's remarks, but he is also, for the very first time, having this meeting going out on live stream over the internet tonight, and he's holding his very first town hall on monetary policy. So we're happy he chose our state to do that. As you heard earlier this evening, today Ron Paul achieved a 26-year dream. It was in Financial Services Committee, the committee that I'm privileged to sit on. Congress held a hearing today on his bill to audit the Federal Reserve. Signatures out of 435 members of Congress. I would say that's a majority. I was there today in committee with Ron, and I was able to ask questions of the witnesses before the committee. Now, why is it so important for us to know about the Federal Reserve? As our second witness, Thomas Woods, said, and if you haven't read his book, Meltdown, you need to read his book. He said that the Fed, as a private organization, enjoys something that no other organization has. They have a government-granted monopoly on the right to create legal tender or money, which means they literally have a license to print money. Now that's a pretty valuable asset. And yet since 1913, this organization has been shrouded in secrecy and has never had the curtain pulled back for the American people to know the inner workings until today. The Federal Reserve to print whatever money was needed to fund the federal government's run-up of debts. And the Fed is supposed to be about full employment. And though unemployment is now 9.7%, experts are actually telling us that it's upwards of 16 to 20%. And the Federal Reserve is supposed to be about price stability. Yet look at the value of houses and the fall in that value, or last year's dramatic increase in the price of energy. The Federal Reserve is supposed to stabilize the value of the dollar and prices, but that's the biggest problem of all. As Ron Paul said today in our committee, a dollar was worth $1 in 1913, and today that same dollar is worth 4 cents. 4 cents. How did our dollar lose 96% of its value if the Federal Reserve was supposed to be stabilizing the value of that dollar, and that was their chief duty? Maybe it's because they have a license to print money. In light of all this, the Federal Reserve even wants more power and more secrecy, and Congress is hell-bent to give them more power. The power to regulate America's financial system. Now think about this. They have the monopoly to print money. They also are going to have the power to regulate the financial system. The Federal Reserve needs a bright light and transparency. It doesn't need any more secrecy. $700 billion bailout? Well, that's how Ron Paul and I got really acquainted. We voted no on every bailout, on every stimulus, on every... That $700 billion is what everyone heard about. But what a lot of people didn't hear about, it was in the media, but it wasn't trumped up. A lot of people didn't hear about the fact that the Federal Reserve on its own took on literally trillions of dollars in obligations